Hello boys. This video is meant to help us understand the relationship between boyhood, manhood, and responsibility in our lives. Recall that the school has two real missions for you: to prepare you for college and to prepare you for manhood. We can understand manhood in a biological sense of physical growth over time. But for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to understand manhood as a kind of ethical maturing that's related to responsibility. There are two truths that are at the core of everything we're going to talk about. The first is that boyhood is great. The second is that manhood is even better. For the purposes of our discussion, boys tend to enjoy playing and tend to receive more care than they give, while men tend to enjoy productive work and tend to give more care than they receive. So, what do we mean by responsibility? Well, we mean that it's a response to the awareness that we've been given more than we've earned, and we feel compelled to give back. So all those discussions we've had about gratitude are central, because if you aren't even aware that you have received so much from your parents, from your teachers, your coaches, the school, Dallas, Texas, United States, and so forth, then you will not feel compelled to care back, and responsibility will seem odd to you. We are going to talk about 3 ways that boys can respond to responsibilities that are either assigned to them or that are possible around them. These 3 ways are to deflect, to accept, or to take responsibility. Deflecting responsibility is warding off some responsibility that is being given to you by a teacher, parent, coach, administrator, or whoever it might be. It's there. You're being asked to do it, and you reject it. Accepting responsibility is fulfilling a responsibility that is being given to you. For instance, your 6th grade teacher says you need to do X, so you do X. Taking responsibility is seeking out responsibility that you haven't been given and is more than is required of you in your life situation. From 1st grade through 12th grade, St. Mark's adds responsibilities to what is expected of you. By asking you to do more each year, the school hopes you grow into your manhood. The boy in you is likely to be the one who wants to play and is going to be tempted to deflect, while the young man in you is going to accept, and we hope to go beyond that and take as much responsibility as he can. So what does deflecting responsibility look like in middle school? It's playing video games during class discussions. It's avoiding your homework. It's talking back to your parents when asked to help around the house. What's accepting responsibility in middle school? It's taking proper care of your own business. It's focusing, participating, taking notes, doing your homework, showing up on time for class and practice, cleaning your room. What is taking responsibility in middle school? It's helping a classmate succeed. It's practicing more in your sport than you need to. It's studying beyond the assignment to really master a skill. It's quieting disruptive peers. It's helping out at home without being asked. The phenomenon of boys being reluctant to take on the responsibilities of manhood is probably best treated in the legend of Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. Peter Pan tries to live a life of perpetual play. And there's a charm to that because being a boy is a great thing. Transitioning into manhood, however, is a better thing. And Peter never does that. And the Lost Boys are lost because they let Peter keep them in this alternative reality called Never Neverland. Middle school is a time for you to transition to manhood against what might be a deep-seated temptation to try to treat middle school as a kind of Never Neverland or as a kind of cyberland. It's worth asking why boys are tempted to deflect responsibility. Possibly a misplaced sense of safety. If I don't try, I can't fail. Possibly a misplaced sense of hope. Like I've made it this far without taking on any responsibility, and maybe the world will just let me go on like this forever. Possibly a misplaced sense of freedom, as in what I want to do versus what the system is trying to make me do. And I'm going to do what I want to do, which is play video games or watch YouTube videos for hours and hours. That's what I want to do, and nobody's going to make me do otherwise. These are all understandable, but they're all misplaced because the world will demand responsibility of us all. And if we haven't learned to be responsible, if we haven't grown our responsibility muscles by gradually taking on more and more, we won't be ready when the time comes. There is no never, never land for us to be in. We won't be lost boys in some alternative reality. We will be lost boys in this reality. And really, it's not ultimately us against the system. It's us against ourselves. Try to think of your 17-year-old self that is finishing up junior year and facing the daunting prospect of college applications, and looking back at yourself now, who may have been reluctant to take responsibility and led to miss many opportunities to engage and grow. When boys deflect responsibility, they hurt not only others, but even more so their future selves. So let's flip around this discussion for a second and ask, why do men take responsibility? Well, it's enjoyable to give back to who and what has helped us along the way. It's enjoyable to take on the responsibility of building the world instead of just being along for the ride. It's enjoyable to build the skills that we're going to need to take on the full responsibility of having a job, maybe running a business, helping run a family, maybe helping run a city. That's where the action is in adult life, and you can prepare for it by taking on as much responsibility as you can handle. Finally, it might help to ask yourself, if you were looking for a business partner, or you are considering making a new friend, you're wondering if you should bring somebody on as a new colleague, choosing an editor for the Remarker, thinking of getting married, hiring a new employee, or trying to fill a freshman class at a college, would you choose someone who defers, accepts, or takes responsibility? You would very likely choose the person in each case who takes responsibility. So, to follow the logic, you would want to be the person who takes responsibility yourself so that you will be chosen to fill these fundamental roles in your life when the time comes. Boyhood is great, manhood is even better.